In a distant land, cradled by mountains and sprawling plains, lived a boy named Kael. But while others toiled on the earth, Kael's heart belonged to the sky. Every morning, he'd climb to the top of Windhill, spread his arms wide, and let the wind rush against his face. "Someday," he'd whisper to the breeze, "I'll find where you begin." The villagers would just smile. "Kael, you're a dreamer," they'd say. "The wind belongs to the sky. People belong to the earth." But Kael couldn't accept that. To him, the wind was a living friend, carrying secrets and stories from faraway lands. As the sun set, painting the mountains in fiery red, he could almost hear voices calling his name on the breeze. One day, a storm of incredible power tore across the plains. It roared like a beast, bending trees and lifting roofs. When the chaos finally subsided, Kael discovered something at the edge of the forest, a single, large feather, shimmering with an ethereal silver light. It was unlike any feather he had ever seen. As he reached out to touch it, the air around him stirred, as if in recognition. He took it to the village elder, a wise old woman named Sira. Her eyes widened as she examined it. "This," she said, her voice filled with awe, "is a feather from the wind spirit. The legends say that long ago, the wind had a daughter, a spirit of freedom who roamed the earth, searching for hearts brave enough to follow her path." Kael's eyes shone with purpose. "Then I will follow her," he declared. Sira frowned, a look of concern on her face. "The path of the wind is not for men, Kael. It is invisible, treacherous, and lonely. Only those who truly understand freedom and its great cost can walk it." But Kael's resolve was unshakable. "Even if it costs me everything," he replied, his voice firm, "I must know where the wind goes." That very night, he packed a small satchel with bread, water, and the silver feather. Under a canopy of stars, with only the whisper of the wind for company, he set off toward the distant horizon, leaving the fading lights of his village behind. For days, he walked across the vast open plains. The wind was his constant companion, sometimes a gentle nudge, other times a wild, insistent push, but always urging him onward. Whenever exhaustion threatened to overtake him, he would simply close his eyes, listen, and let the air speak to him. Then, one misty dawn, he arrived at the edge of a colossal canyon. The wind here was a living, breathing force, swirling in powerful vortexes. As Kael stepped closer, the silver feather in his hand began to pulse with a brilliant light. A deep, resonant voice echoed from the canyon's depths. "Who seeks the path of the wind?" Kael's heart hammered against his ribs, but he stood tall. "I am Kael," he shouted into the gale. "I wish to find where the wind begins, and to be free, just like it." The wind roared, spiraling around him in a powerful vortex. "Freedom," the voice boomed, "is not merely flight. It is the courage to keep moving, even when no one follows. Are you prepared to lose everything that holds you to the ground?" Kael thought of his home, the faces of his family, the simple warmth of the village hearth. He looked down at the earth, then up at the boundless open sky above him. Taking a deep breath, he answered with all his heart, "Yes." The ground trembled beneath his feet. Suddenly, he was lifted, not by wings, but by the wind itself. It wrapped around him like invisible hands, carrying him higher and higher. He was flying. He soared over mountains and rivers, through valleys shrouded in mist. From this height, the world seemed so small, and he finally understood how vast and infinite freedom truly was. The wind whispered in his ear, "Now you see. To be free is to move without fear, without chains, without limits." But as he flew, he saw something that tempered his joy. Below, villages just like his own were struggling against fierce storms. Roofs were torn away, and fields of crops lay in ruins. "If the wind brings freedom," he asked softly, Why does it also bring so much pain? The wind spirit's voice replied, because freedom is wild. It gives life, but it also tests those who wish to keep it. The world cannot hold freedom still. It must always be moving, just like you. Looking down again, Kael felt a pang of longing for his people, for their kindness and their laughter. He made a new resolve. Then I will bring them hope, he declared. If I cannot make them fly, I will show them that even the wind can be kind. The spirit's voice softened, filled with a newfound warmth. Then you are ready to return. The air around Kael shimmered, and he began a slow, gentle descent, landing softly back on Wind Hill, the very place his journey had begun. He was no longer the same boy. His eyes held the reflection of distant skies, and his heart carried the wisdom of the wind. The villagers rushed to greet him, amazed. Kael, where have you been? We thought you were lost forever. He smiled, a calm and knowing smile. I followed the wind, he said, and I learned that freedom isn't about leaving everything behind. It's about having the courage to move forward, even when the world tells you to stay still. From that day on, Kael was known as the Wind's Child. He used his knowledge to build ingenious windmills that transformed the storm's fury into energy. He dug channels that guided the cool breeze to thirsty fields and crafted beautiful kites that danced in the sky, becoming symbols of joy above the village rooftops. The people began to see the wind not as a force to be feared, but as an ally, a symbol of hope and renewal. Children would climb Wind Hill to fly their own kites, whispering to the breeze, Kael, take our dreams with you. Generations passed, and the story of Kael became a legend. It was told not just as a tale of flight, but as a timeless reminder that true freedom isn't found in escaping the world, but in learning to live bravely within it. And to this day, whenever the wind blows over Wind Hill, the villagers lift their faces, close their eyes, and feel the spirit of the boy who walked with the wind, forever chasing the horizon, forever free. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales that touch the heart. See you next time.